Manhattan Legal Services, we provide free civil legal services to low-income residents. We address the problems that most impact people's ability to live safe lives of dignity and honor.
The work that Manhattan Legal Services does is so critical across a number of the areas of what people need to survive and thrive here in New York City. But one of the most important needs that people have is their housing. Keeping people in their homes is critical work, and that is why they are so focused on making sure the most vulnerable citizens that we serve do have that strong foundation of a home.
At the Tenants' Rights Coalition, we work with groups of tenants who are seeking to sue their landlords. Usually this is in collaboration with tenant associations and tenant organizers who have determined that attorneys or a legal strategy would benefit their overall goals. Our work is really supporting tenants to ensure that their homes are safe, healthy, they're living in dignified conditions. It's about uplifting tenants and what they want. And it's also really about preserving affordable housing.
Met Council on Housing has worked with Manhattan Legal Services in several cases in the past, and specifically with 705 and 709 West 170th Street Tenant Association. During the pandemic, they were facing a lot of neglect. No landlord, no super. They were taking care of the boilers on their own, the cleaning, the garbage. They just felt like they needed to come together and speak up on what was happening. They reached out to Met Council on Housing as well as Manhattan Legal Services to give them the resources and the power to fight this landlord.
So the landlord is Daniel Ohub-Shalom. He is on the public advocate's list of 100 worst landlords as number 1 for 2 years running. Our clients, the tenants, feel that they have been abandoned because Daniel Ohub-Shalom is unwilling to ensure that these buildings are maintained and habitable.
In both buildings, we have 400 violations. We don't have hot water for couple weeks. The boiler sometimes is broken. The apartment is freezing. We get sick. The roaches. We have rat. The door was broken for a year. The homeless sleeping in the roof. We feel unsecure.
The tenants have done all of their own repairs in their apartments, and they've used their own money and their own labor. And that doesn't even get to the backed up septic tank, wastewater that was in the back of the buildings. Manhattan Legal Services was in to do whatever we could do to support them. Rent reduction orders with DHCR. They went on rent strike. We had 311 calling campaigns to get violations registered, creating pressure on their landlord in hopes he might relinquish these buildings. We are now in the middle of our harassment trial, presenting our evidence and our testimony. Tenants are still on rent strike, and the Tenants Association continues to be extremely vocal about what they want, which is to remove Daniel Ohub-Shalom from the buildings and convert the buildings into HGFC co-ops and allow the tenants who have taken care of these buildings for decades to actually be the owners of the building, because they are seemingly the only ones who actually care about the buildings.
We already have a liaison in place to be a steward of the building until the tenants can own it. So the pathways are already set. We're talking to a Northern Manhattan Community Land Trust now to educate the tenants on what a land trust is. We are doing everything in our power to make sure that they are set up for success going down the line. And we are very optimistic that this will be done.
Manhattan Legal Services help a lot to improve the problem we have in the building. All the tenant association, we feel very grateful. Thank you to them for all the help and hard work they do.
We are focused on what our clients want. They've been fighting for years, and they're going to continue that fight for as long as it takes until they are able to own these buildings. And Manhattan Legal Services is going to be right beside them, continuing to fight until we reach their goals. And we're going to support them for however long it takes.
As I think about the future, one of the things that I think makes Manhattan Legal Services special is our commitment doesn't change. Our mission will stay the same regardless of the political winds and controversies, regardless of the evolving challenges that the low-income communities face in Manhattan. Our mission of ensuring access to justice and making sure that those who don't have a voice in our system, that doesn't change.
Justice to me means collective power and being unified.
Justice is the awareness that something is going wrong and that you want to change it.
Justice is uplifting the voices of those who are so often ignored.
Justice is having your voice heard.
Justice to me is a world where everyone has the same opportunity to use our justice system to achieve what they seek to achieve in their life.